All right, so you want to be a notary in Wisconsin.
Sounds like it.
Well, lucky for you, we're about to take a deep dive into,
Everything notary.
that's right, everything you need to know.
To become one in the Badger State.
I've been looking through all this info from the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions.
The DFI.
Yeah, the DFI.
They've got some great resources.
Really helpful stuff.
Really breaks it all down.
So-
start with the basics.
Okay,
What exactly is a notary public?
right. Good place to start.
I mean, they're basically guardians of trust when it comes to legal stuff.
Guardians of trust. I like that.
They're impartial witnesses, making sure things are done by the book.
So they're not lawyers,
Not quite, but they make sure those important signatures are legit.
and that everyone's who they say they are.
Exactly.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Big responsibility.
It is.
So how do you actually become a notary in Wisconsin?
Well, from what I've seen in the DFI materials,
There are two main paths.
2 paths?
Yeah.
Okay, walk me through it.
So first, you've got the 4-year commission,
4-year commission.
the most common one.
Okay.
Then there's the permanent commission, specifically for licensed attorneys.
Ah, so there's a special route for the lawyers.
Makes sense.
They already deal with legal stuff all the time.
Exactly.
All right, let's focus on the 4-year commission first.
That's good.
What do you need to qualify for that?
Well,
Besides a love of paperwork.
yeah, besides that.
I see a bunch of requirements here from the DFI.
First off, you gotta be at least 18 years old.
Okay, makes sense.
Gotta have at least an 8th grade education.
Got it.
And of course,
You got to be familiar
with the duties of a notary.
which is where our deep dive comes in handy.
Exactly.
All right, so 18 years old, 8th grade, know what a notary does. There's more.
One more big one.
Oh, boy.
You need a clean record.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is where some people might start sweating.
Maybe a little.
So that's where the $500 surety bond comes in, right?
You got it.
I see that mentioned all over the DFI stuff.
It's basically a safety net.
For the public,
Yeah.
to make sure they're covered if a notary messes up.
Right. If a notary, let's say, causes someone financial harm because they didn't do their job right.
There's a way to compensate the person who got hurt.
Exactly. It's all about accountability.
Makes sense, lots of responsibility. Got to have those checks in place.
Definitely.
So once you've got the age, education, clean record, all squared away,
What's next?
see, the DFI says you need to apply.
Right. Either online or download the forms.
Easy peasy.
Then there's the oath of office.
Swear to uphold the notary law.
Something like that.
And of course, secure that $500 surety bond.
All available through the DFI website.
Super convenient.
They try to make it as easy as possible.
Well, wait, there's more, right?
There's one more hurdle.
The dreaded notary exam.
Ah, yes. The test.
You got to prove you know your stuff.
No, just winging it.
Nope.
The DFI wants to make sure you understand Wisconsin notary law.
And procedure. So what's the passing score?
You need a 90% or better.
90%.
Wow.
They're serious about this.
That's impressive. Really highlights how important accuracy is.
Absolutely.
Knowing the rules inside and out.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so let's say I passed that exam with flying colors.
Congratulations.
And what's next?
You get a badge.
No way, a real badge.
Not a badge, but something even cooler.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
You get an engraved seal or stamp.
Whoa, fancy.
It's a physical symbol of your authority as a notary.
Like a notary superhero symbol.
Sort of?
Does it have to look a certain way?
There are some rules.
Okay, lay them on me.
It needs to have State of Wisconsin,
Okay,
Notary Public,
makes sense.
and your full legal name. No nicknames allowed.
Bummer.
Got to keep it official.
All right, no notary extraordinaire for me.
Maybe say that for your business cards.
Uh-huh.
Good idea. But seriously, that seal,
Or stamp.
right, it carries a lot of legal weight.
It shows you're legit.
Vetted by the state,
Yeah.
qualified to do the job.
Powerful stuff.
It is. All right, so we've covered the 4-year commission.
The path for most folks.
What about those attorneys going for the permanent commission?
Their journey's a bit different.
How so?
We'll dive into that.
After a quick break.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so we left off talking about attorneys and the permanent commission.
Right, their path is a bit more streamlined.
Makes sense. They're already steeped in the legal world.
Exactly. So instead of that whole bond thing,
The $500 one.
yep, attorneys just need a certificate of good standing from the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Showing they're, in good legal standing.
Basically proves they're a lawyer in good graces.
Right, no shady dealings.
Exactly.
And they have to pay a filing fee.
A small one, just $50.
Compared to that bond, that's steal.
It is.
So being a lawyer in Wisconsin definitely has its perks when it comes to becoming a notary.
You could say that.
But let's get into the nitty-gritty.
The notarial acts themselves.
Right. What can a notary actually do?
Well, think of it like a toolbox.
A notary toolbox.
Yeah, each notarial act is like a different tool.
Okay, I'm liking this analogy.
So one of the most common tools is the acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement.
It's basically when someone signs a document
And declares to the notary that they're doing it willingly,
and that they understand what they're signing.
adding that extra layer of legal certainty.
Exactly. It's like saying, yep, this is my signature and I know what I'm getting into.
What happens if someone later says they didn't understand the document?
Even though they acknowledged it.
Right, exactly.
That's where the notary's record keeping is super important.
It's proof that the person was properly ID'd, appeared willingly, and said they understood everything.
Makes it much harder to challenge that signature later on,
So it protects everyone.
especially the signer.
Okay, so
Yeah.
acknowledgments are all about informed consent.
What about oaths and affirmations?
You mentioned those earlier.
Those are about truth-telling.
Like in court?
Swearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So dramatic.
Right.
And the notary's role is to make sure that oath is taken seriously.
That it's done according to legal requirements.
Interesting.
It's a big deal.
It is. So we've got acknowledgments for informed consent, oaths for truth-telling.
What else is in this notary toolbox?
Is that it?
There's one more we should talk about.
Okay, hit me.
The jurat.
The what? The Jurat.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so what's a jurat?
It's the notary certificate that gets attached to a document
Okay.
where someone has made a sworn statement.
Like an affidavit.
Exactly.
So the jurat confirms that they took an oath or affirmation.
And signed the document in front of the notary.
Got it. The notary's official seal of approval on a sworn statement.
Precisely.
Okay, so with all these different acts, it seems like there's a lot of room for error.
There is. Accuracy is crucial.
What are some common mistakes notaries should avoid?
Well, one big one is notarizing for someone you're close to.
Like your spouse.
Or a business partner.
That's a conflict of interest.
Big time.
Could invalidate the whole thing.
Yep.
Got to stay neutral and objective.
Okay, what about witnessing signatures?
Can't just drop off a pre-signed document.
And have the notary stamp it later
Well, it depends.
on the type of act.
For acknowledgments, they don't have to sign in front of you
But they do need to appear before you.
and confirm they signed it.
Okay, that makes sense.
But for oaths, affirmations,
Anything where someone's swearing to something.
you got to witness that signature happening live.
No signing ahead of time and dropping it off
Nope, got to see it in real time.
to maintain that chain of custody.
Exactly.
Okay, so no funny business with the oaths and affirmations.
Nope, got to be by the book.
Speaking of by the book, I've heard stories about notaries getting in trouble
For notarizing photocopies.
of important documents.
Like vital records,
birth certificates, death certificates.
marriage licenses.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Big no-no.
Huge penalties, fines, even jail time.
Yikes. So stick to the originals or certified copies from official sources.
Always.
Okay, good to know. What about fees?
How much can a notary charge?
In Wisconsin, it's $5 max for most acts.
Seems pretty reasonable.
It is. It's a public service, after all.
Not just a money-making scheme.
Right.
So what about record keeping?
Is there a specific way notaries have to document things?
Like a special notary journal?
Well, Wisconsin doesn't require a logbook.
But it's highly recommended.
Think of it as a notary's personal record of their official acts.
Dates, document types, names, ID info.
All of that.
So if there's ever a question,
They can prove they did everything by the book. Protects them and shows their commitment to accuracy.
Okay, so what happens when a notary's 4-year commission is about to expire?
Do they just poof, disappear from the notary world?
Vanish into thin air
Not quite.
so they can renew.
The process is pretty much the same as the initial application.
And the DFI sends reminders.
So you don't miss the deadline.
That's helpful.
They try to make it easy.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
Types of commissions, notarial acts, impartiality, record keeping.
Even the dangers of photocopying vital records.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
But before we wrap up,
There's more.
one more thing.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
We need to talk about remote online notarization.
Oh, yeah. The digital age of notarization.
It's pretty amazing.
What could you tell us about it?
It allows notaries to work with people who aren't physically present.
So convenient.
Opens up a whole new world of accessibility.
I bet the DFI has info on that.
They do a whole guide on their website.
Rules, approved tech providers, the whole 9 yards.
It's all there.
Amazing. I think we've given our listeners a solid foundation on notaries in Wisconsin.
What they do, how to become one, the traditional way, and the remote online option.
It's been a great deep dive.
It has.
Now that you know all this, what kind of impact do you see yourself making as a notary? That's a good question.
I'm I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, it's clear that notaries play a big role.
In upholding legal processes and protecting people.
I think I'd approach it with a sense of service,
Knowing that you're helping people navigate important moments,
ensuring things are done right.
it's more than just stamping papers.
It's about being a trusted figure.
Someone who brings clarity and security to legal stuff.
Will said. I'm actually feeling pretty inspired by all this notary knowledge.
Maybe you'll become one yourself.
I might just have to check out those DFI resources.
We encourage you to.
And for our listeners, we'll make sure to include those links.
They're a great starting point.
Well, folks, that brings our notary deep dive to a close.
You hope you enjoyed it.